what comes in the way? And you mentioned fear. There's not just fear, but there's this, the FEAR also stands for something. So maybe you can explain to us,
Yeah.
what are those roadblocks that come? Because most of us, as you say, rightly, like when we're kids or children and young children, like we're very curious about everything. And then by the time we get to, I don't know, in our 20s, in that workplace, we just
Right.
do our thing and go home, right?
Right. Right.
So,
It's tough. Yeah. I appreciate that because the acronym's actually FATE,
oh,
FATE, but
faith. Okay, got it. Yes.
yeah, no, but that's fine because fear is the first one. So that's why
Okay.
it's in mine.
Yeah.
But I really thought fear was going to be the main and only, major issue when I started researching this. Well, I came about this from when I was writing Cracking the Curiosity Code. I started to realize I needed a way to find out what inhibits us in order to fix it, right? I didn't just want to write about curiosity. I wanted to write about, well, this is why curiosity is important. How do we fix it? What if we've lost it? And so I researched this for thousands of people over years and years and came back with this acronym of FATE. And FATE stands for fear, assumptions, which is the voice in your head, technology, the over and underutilization of it, and environment, which is everybody with whom you've ever had any contact. Okay. So if you look at, do you want me to go to each one?
Yeah, it just quickly touch upon.
Briefly. Okay. So fear is kind of self-explanatory. Nobody wants to look stupid in meetings. Nobody wants to seem unprepared. You don't want to ask the question because they'll think there's something wrong or you just didn't keep up. And so we all have these things that keep us from giving insight. We may even fear that we're making our boss look bad by asking a question, right? So I get that question a lot when I give talks. Well, what if my boss thinks that I'm confronting him or, things like that by asking questions? And one of the answers to that is how you phrase it, right? If you make it sound like, why are we doing this? Or, why did you come up with this in a way that's confrontational? You're going to get a different response. So we learn how to buffer questions. We learn how to ask things in ways. And it's a real important aspect of what holds us back. But I really expected it to be the most impactful of the inhibitors, and they were all almost even across the board, which was interesting because they kind of can tie into each other too. The second aspect of the inhibitor was assumptions, and assumptions, that voice in our head, that voice that tells us, I'm not going to like doing this. This is boring. I'm not smart enough for this. Or, you have these thoughts. It's this nagging voice that keeps you from wanting to explore something different. And some of that will lead to fear. And so as we have these things, we have to recognize them. The third category of things that impact curiosity is technology. And as I mentioned, when we were talking about Gen Z, some people will over and underutilize it. And it's really easy to do that. You may not ever get the foundation behind what you're actually utilizing. And that's really problematic because you might be the greatest mathematician in the world, but if I hand you a calculator and nobody ever taught you the math behind it, you might just end up being just the greatest calculator worker in the world. And we want you,
as we're seeing with AI and ChatGPT and so on, right? People just kind of ask them the question and they don't think really beyond on their own.
Well, that's really an important thing. And I'm writing a follow-up book right now called Unleashing Curiosity. And in that, I address AI and a lot of the technology issues and things that we are experiencing now, because a lot's happened since writing Cracking the Curiosity Code. And so I've incorporated these 4 factors of fear, and I'll end with the last one, which is environment. Environment is really everybody you've ever had contact with in your life. So your teachers, your family, your friends, social media, you name it. Anybody who could have made you think that your idea wasn't worth pursuing or they didn't have time to answer your questions. So, what's important about knowing these 4 factors is once you recognize all the sub-factors under each of them and say, oh, okay, so this is why I'm not asking questions. This is why I'm not exploring. This is why I haven't done this or that. You can create kind of a personal SWOT analysis, understanding what your strengths and weaknesses and all these things are, to create goals to overcome some of this stuff. So that's what I'm writing about now, is trying to give more of a pathway for organizations to give to their employees and leaders and everybody. This is meant for all workers, to show them this is how you overcome these things. This is why you'd want to overcome them, because this is the success that this person had or that person had. And so it's been really fun to look at how people, whether you like them or not, like Elon Musk or somebody, whoever's successful,
Yeah.
what they had to come up against, how they overcame fear, or whatever the thing is that they ran into, and then went ahead and became successful in spite of it because of their curiosity.